Let's sort everything out. Get everything ready so we can start the live stream. We'll begin the live stream in a little while. So I'll get everything sorted out. In just 2 minutes, we'll start the live stream. Actually, there are three of us talking about here, but we'll be starting the live stream in a little while. We're going to talk about some ideas regarding Chile. Chile is having elections now, and since I also sold some things to Chile, there's that thing about reciprocity. You have to help people and people help you. You help a country like Chile, where I sold things and helped the Chilean researchers a lot, and they helped me with purchases. So in helping with purchases, I wrote a little text about how they can protect themselves, how Chilean culture can protect themselves from these rich people who want to bite the state as it is. So how do you protect yourself? How do you create a constitution? Brazil created a constitution in 1988, which is very interesting. It's impossible to fulfill everything, but the Constitution is very interesting. So now we just have to update this Constitution and not let the influence of number 01 continue. When I say number 01, I mean you have 220 million inhabitants in Brazil, and 1% of them, that is less than 20 million, less than 2 million, that 1% of them is the one that rules the state, the one that rules Brazil, the one that rules the Chamber of Deputies, the Senate, and so on. So little by little, we have to get out of the hands of number 01, out of this somewhat unhealthy economy. This economy, the way the economy is run, it's run in a colonial manner. So getting out of economic colonialism is fundamental. That's what we're going to talk about today. But speaking specifically about Chile, fundamental principles, we'll be starting our live stream in a little while. Just a quick second. Okay, let's go. It's 8 p.m. We're in Aventura, and today's live stream is on December 3rd, 2025. Today's live stream is about Chile, fundamental principles for a new Chilean constitution. 12 fundamental precepts, 12 things that the Chilean population needs to understand, needs to try to put into the constitution so that the plunderers, those foxes 01, don't devour all the intangible assets of the Chilean people, okay? Those richer people are voracious. They live off the state and say that the state is worthless. And it's important for me to tell you this, these 12, I'll try to talk about these 12 elements today. I'll try to describe them one by one. I've already sent you the email one by one, but it's important before that to understand what political colonialism is, how we were colonized. To understand this, I'm going to tell you a little story. How did this whole left-right thing come about? Left and right, some time ago, if I'm not mistaken, it was in England, there was a kind of discussion between workers and bosses, and they held a meeting, bringing together all those on the right side being the business owners and the left side the workers. So what is left? Left is the workers, those who have jobs with someone. Left and right. The owner of the money, and then things changed a little, but the parties were left and right. It's about who supports the boss and who supports the employee, and that division remained, but that division is based on the economy at that time in that period. And even then, during that period, before even entering Brazil here, This is a very important question. If you delve into the concepts of republic, what is a republic? In Greece and Rome, a republic meant a good man, a citizen, not a woman, not a black person, not an immigrant, not a child, okay? A good man is a citizen. If you notice, when you look at our politicians, the far right, our far right is Republican. It has to be Republican. A good man. So everything they talk about here is about good men, but they won't talk about women's rights or children's rights. No, it's only about good men. So a man is a citizen. And a good man is a citizen, the rest are not. So that's what the far right is all about when it goes to those extremes. It's important for you to know that. And if you're on the far right, you need to know that this is the discourse and the narrative. It's also good to talk about what reflects quite a bit about the good man is also like that. A good man is the head of the household. The woman is more or less the type Tima talked about, the pretty well-dressed housewife. Stay home, go do the housework. That's the basic definition that comes from this republic. Woman, stay home. Women's work, stay home. Temer used to say that. And I like to cite Temer because Temer has a very good point. Before former President Bolsonaro came in, I was talking to my brothers, talking to one of my brothers. I told him, look, Bolsonaro is coming in when he comes in, but you say that Bolsonaro will try to be honest. He won't be honest. He won't do any kind of investigation with his family members or with the richest ones. And more, it was right around the time that Temer had those suitcases of money going back and forth in Sao Paulo. And what's more, if Temer is arrested, the next day he's released. Then one of my brothers said, I doubt it, Bolsonaro is honest. He's not. He's not. He is far right, defends the 01, referring to Bolsonaro's son, likely a reference to his son, and is not going to investigate his own people. And by not investigating his own people, he will have the feeling that there is no corruption. When there is no investigation, there is no corruption. So he will only investigate his enemies. And this is important. Why am I saying this now? Because the 01, who are the powerful figures in Brazil, Chile, Uruguay, anywhere, the 01s, the powerful, they construct the narratives. So look, even in maintaining the government that Bolsonaro tried to have, he said, look, the elections were rigged. He himself received reports from the armed forces, reports from various places, stating that there was no possibility of the elections being rigged. But, and this is important, if I say that the elections are rigged, I create a notoriety of false facts. And these facts, which are lies, create a social movement. And this social movement is real. It's not the lie that caused the movement. The elections were rigged. That's a lie. But it caused social outrage because I'm polluting the market with this lie in a way that some analyst here is showing, I don't know what, analyzing, and then I'm creating a flood of the market with the lie. So it becomes a notoriety of facts, something that everyone thinks the election was rigged. So it was. It wasn't. And even Bolsonaro knew this, his team knew this, everyone showed it, but it's no use showing it because here I have a political tool for mass dissemination. So I take this political tool of mass mobilization, I throw it into the media, the internet, I throw it out there, and there's a social mobilization. And then the social mobilization is real, based on a lie, on fake news. And the far right works very well at this. So these are the concerns I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about Bolsonaro or Lula. I'm going to talk about Chile. So how can we worry about Chile if the constitution is going to reappear? What should you be concerned about to prevent this from happening? Because when the far right talks about freedom of expression, it's falsehood of expression. It's about being able to lie in order to try and build a movement on top of lies. And this movement is real. This movement gives notoriety to the movement. Everyone sees that movement. And then seeing that movement, that metabolism of human movements, everyone with that news has the feeling that that news is true. The 01, referring to the president's son Bolsonaro, who are the richest, control all social media and use political avatars. And these political avatars, in this case Bolsonaro, who now he's arrested, then another one comes, then another, then another, then another, it's constantly being changed. And then you have to think, how did I let myself be fooled? You let yourself be fooled because, man, one person says something, then another says something, then another, they all say the same thing. And then you, and there are so many news stories, but it's what I believe, it's what I think. Yes, then you're already entering the process. It's what you think, and what you think is a lie because you've already entered this notoriety of falsehood spread by everyone. That's how it is. Things are happening. What makes it news? I emphasize something. And this news mobilizes society. Whoever has more money creates bigger news, mobilizes more. Whoever has more money, the 0.1%, mobilizes society more. And it's simple. Lima, for example, suddenly in Brazilian society, he takes 50 million. Billions. There's no problem at all. He won't go to jail. He won't, because society, this 0.1%, has hijacked the state. The 0.1% hijacks the state, but with the economy, this economy of profit, consumption, and accumulation hijacks everyone, and money is formed on top of debt today. That is, it's very complicated. We have to reverse the process, and that's where the things I say to Chile come in. The first thing I say to Chilean citizens is this: freedom is a freedom of expression of the DNA, not freedom of expression of your reasoning colonized by Europe. It's the DNA, and the freedom of expression of DNA many social classes don't want. You have to behave this way or that way. No, hold on. The DNA has to be freed. It has different movements inside my body, inside your body, inside the body of your son, your daughter, your father, your mother. DNA moves in different ways, and that's freedom of expression. I can't impose a culture and restrict the individual's DNA, their DNA freedom. The Republic does that. It imposes rules. It imposes the rule on you with language, with everything. So freedom is in the DNA. So it's not in the culture itself, but it's in the DNA. It's not the perception of being that needs freedom, because the perception of being is already tainted. It's already colonized. That's important. Then I'll say the following to the people from Chile: the bio-centric principle. But this principle is so beautiful. To colonize people, you tell them, look, our place is not in this world. It's in another world. We are not from here. We are here, the biocenter. We are here. We are part of this planet. Every atom in your body is from the planet. You are the planet. We are the planet. But whoever is going to colonize you will say, we are not from here. Your reward will come later, later. Because then everything you do goes to the top, goes to the richest, and you'll always be left sucking your thumb because you think you're not from here. I'm just passing through. Life will pass. Life ends. It doesn't pass. It ends. So if you believe, if you have your belief that life continues, that's fine. It's all valid. But when this 01, referring to a powerful figure, seeks money from people, promising them things after death, just so they give work and time to 01, that's very complicated. So what happens? The biocentric principle is that you are the planet. You are not from the planet. You didn't come here from somewhere else. All your atoms are composed of the planet. So you are a living structure. You have other structures. These structures, you come from a biome. If you are in the Atlantic forest biome, which I love, you are a product, you are a child of this Atlantic forest biome. While you're there, you leave that biome, go to another, go to the Amazon biome, spend a year or two there, and your body is recycled, and you become part of that biome. So you are a child of the biome where you are. That's biocentric. Biology is the center. Is the So you understand then everything changes, because when you want to colonize a population, you say you came from outside, you're from another planet, from another place, your kingdom is celestial, leave your tithe here, your offering here, leave your taxes here, and you belong to another class. And then I'm going to suck this individual dry, I'm going to steal from this individual. And if I'm number one, super rich, I use the state to do this. The state, I depend on the state, but I make the state aggressive towards the population. I don't want it to be kind to the population because I control the state personally. That's it. You have to understand a little bit. There are people who have lost sight of the fact that this state was hijacked by President Bolsonaro. The state is in bad shape because the super rich have left it in bad shape. The state is me, it's you, we are the state, and there's more. I'm telling Chile that this is important. Chile is plurinational and Chile is a body territory. Each nation, Mapuche, Aymara, Rapa, Nui, the Andean peoples, each nation, each people is a nation in itself. So it's plurinational. It's no use saying it's a single unit. No, there are women, there are men of this nation. So it's plural. It's a group that wants to live well together. So if you have to look, each nation also has a different idea of body and territory. They see the territory differently, they perceive it differently. There are people who perceive the river as they do, they perceive the mountain as they do, they perceive the forest as they do. I, for example, if I'm near a forest and after a certain amount of time in the woods, when you cut down a tree, it hurts me in my body because I perceive this body, the territory, as extended. Each culture will have a different perception. But our colonial economic culture, which came from Europe, looks at a tree and sees commodities. How do I cut? How do I earn? How much will I gain from this tree? So it's always about profit, consumption, and accumulation. And it's not about being well-being, and we need well-being for the population. So this plurinational state is necessary in Chile, and not only in Chile. Respect each nation, each individual's way of being, the freedom of DNA. The freedom of DNA is fantastic. Then I put living community versus number one. This one is a little harder to explain to you, but it's something you'll get. The living community is like this. You're in your house, you talk to someone, you move, you pick up an object, you give it to the person, they give it to you, you go out, you talk, you touch, you engage in conversation. The communication of number one is newspapers, media, television, social networks, that whole bombardment of information. Sometimes the most important news for you is whether your street was cleaned, whether there was a garbage collection, whether the garbage is being recycled, whether there's selective garbage collection. That's the problem on your street. No, but the problem you see is the problem that the media puts on you, that television put on, that the internet put on, that Twitter put on, that Facebook put on. The most important thing for you is news. If Facebook has more than 20,000 views, it must be true. That's the notoriety that the president is imposing. This doesn't have to be true. He just wants to grab your attention. That's all. Your reality is a living reality. Me, for example, you're looking at me and I'm online. That's not a living reality. Living reality is you touching me, you talking to me, having a conversation. So that's important. Even though it's online, it's a little closer. But living reality is your reality in your house. You go to the bathroom, you eat, you turn on the tap, the water is good, it's not good, the shower. The number one, referring to a political figure, likes to privatize water and energy. Because if I privatize water and energy, if I reduce prices, increase prices, decrease prices, I can win votes with that. I create stress and release, create stress and release. The number one, referring to Bolsonaro, also loves to gain votes and notoriety by killing poor people and drug traffickers. But look, the big drug traffickers are these people, including those from Banco Master. The big drug traffickers aren't even in Brazil. They have houses abroad. The big drug traffickers have white collars. They have private jets. These are the big drug traffickers who aren't even trafficking anymore because the biggest money is Betis now. Betting, Betis, Tigrinho, and some money laundering. So look, when you talk about the big drug traffickers or when you talk about organized crime is no longer a crime. Organized crime already has laws that defend what they do. There are already deputies and senators defending what they do. You can see the government somehow wanted to pull off a big coup against the big Brazilian mafias. But the Senate and the Chamber of Deputies have already blocked everything, locked everything up. They won't let it happen. And then Derrit comes along and sets up something to defend 01. 01 are not good people. The president, number 01, has the state hijacked along with them. And it's the same in Chile. So the living communication, number 01, controls media, newspapers, television, the internet, controls Oh, the internet is free. It's not. The internet is controlled by number 01, because what happens is this: the notoriety of the facts is determined by the news, how many times it's posted. Number 01 posted a million times, 10 million times, a billion times. You only receive the news. It doesn't, 8 people will see it, 10 people will see it. Twitter, the algorithms won't show it to everyone. So in other words, whoever distributes the most dictates the agenda. Whoever distributes the most gets zero. That's important, because real life communication is me with you in person, real life things, not these internet things, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, that movement. It just plays on emotion. Another important thing in Chile is metabolic well-being. Here's something very important. This consumption instilled by European culture of seeking profit, consumption, and accumulation causes stress. You leave what I call zone 2, which is a comfort zone. You're not always in zone 2 of this comfort. Sometimes you're in zone 1, which is when you're forcing yourself to do something or learning something. That's zone 1. Zone 2 is the zone where you're doing well, you're enjoying yourself, you're traveling, but you might also be producing. And zone 3 is the pressure zone. So if you're in an economy where you're already in debt, money is created in our economy through debt, and it could be created in the citizen. And the economy became metabolic. I don't need to chase after money. But the 01s, which are the rich kids, don't let that happen. They don't want that to happen, because we have to be slaves to money, to debt, to the news, you understand? And we can change that to a metabolic well-being. If I give that person what they need to live well, they are already well off with what they receive, and they have a metabolic well-being, they will be much better off. And furthermore, this metabolic well-being places you within a biome. You breathe air. How redundant that is. You breathe air, you drink water. Water comes from the biome, air also comes from the biome. And you allowed this company, this pollution in the river. Did you notice? So this metabolism can be corrupted by companies that the government, that the municipality allowed to enter your region and create a large level of pollution. And these companies stay there, and you say, but what about the social good of this? Oh, but it's collecting taxes. And what does that tax go to? To pay senators, deputies? What is happening? So we have to seek the well-being of the citizen who lives there, who lives in that place. Another interesting thing is this so-called democratic sense. A democracy based on common sense, that's really cool. It's not a democracy ruled by a single leader. There's a leader and you follow the book. I don't have a chorus democracy, it's a kind of shoal democracy. Let me make myself clearer. Look, chorus democracy is a collective movement. It's not this leader. This leader, for example, if the birds are flying like this, okay, okay, now okay, okay, suddenly when they turn back here, the leader is this one. It depends if the agenda is different. The leader can be this other one. It can be another one. The leader changes with the agenda. The leader is naturally replaced. So if you have a chorus democracy, you don't have a leader who is controlling. Everything. Naturally, leaders change hands. At some point, everyone agrees. No, that's right, common sense. Everyone agrees. That's right, common sense. Except that today, number one controls social media. Television, radio, newspaper, internet control. So it plays with communication and gives the feeling that you agree with it. And your friend, your brother, your father is also experiencing it. And it gives the impression that everyone agrees. So you have a false sense of security. Fake. The non-fake news story is a multifaceted narrative that reaches you through various sources, not just through people you consider important in your life. Your father, your mother, your uncle, your teacher, your brother, everyone sees that information. And then you think, oh, that's it. No, but that's fake. Because it's not that bunch of shepherds or us discussing a problem in a place where there's no leader. Everyone is discussing it, and it will be when you have the floor, it's not a discussion in a circle, for example. You don't have the floor up there, you speaking for everyone to hear. You speak, the other person speaks, the other person speaks. When I went to the House of Indigenous Cultures, Danilo allowed me to go there. Danilo coordinates the Indigenous Cultural Center. And there's a moment when you're going to speak, when you stand up and start speaking in a circle, but you speak with your head down and you represent the voice of everyone there. You're not speaking to yourself. You're seeking a solution for the group. Press. It's impressive. You keep talking and talking. People don't challenge you. You keep talking and spinning in one movement. You keep talking. You keep thinking. You're not thinking. It's not your ego. It's almost a quorum, a representation of what everyone thinks. So you sit down, another person gets up, it goes around, and they keep talking and they keep talking. You understand there's no hierarchy. No one is greater than that one. There's put the agenda, show your dialogue. It goes in a cycle. Speak to the community, respect the other person who will also speak. So democracy, coessence is suddenly the group, and that. Not through the internet, not through television, not through newspapers. It's a face-to-face discussion, reality with reality. And that's the advice I'm giving to Chile as well. A democracy has to be co-educational. It's not through the internet. It's not through newspapers. It's person to person, respecting what one thinks and what the other thinks, respecting the needs of each other. And then comes the following. Just as they defend Brazil, Drex the citizen, I defend Chile, Drex the Chilean. Obviously, I had to defend it. Drex the Chilean, income for the Chilean receives every day, from the moment he is considered a citizen or voter until he dies, so he will have the money necessary to live minimally well. And this money, Drex the citizen, is what fuels the economy. The money, if it were in Brazil, 50 reais a day, that's the money. Every citizen, including the super rich, will also receive 50 reais. If they don't want to receive it, that's their problem. But everyone, because it's money, if it were in Brazil, it's money representing the country's income. The country's money for each citizen, the money is created. So according to Drex, today money is often formed in debts and with a CNPJ, Brazilian tax ID number. It's quickly formed and goes straight to the tax authorities, and no citizen caught it that day, but 01, referring to President Bolsonaro, caught it in a tax haven, buying yachts, airplanes. It's all very nice, all laundered, all tax havens. Drex is different. There's tracking and it goes to the citizen. From the citizen, it goes to the economy. The citizen buys, the citizen converses, the citizen rents, the citizen hires the service of another. So you have the Chilean citizen Drex. After the Chilean citizen Drex, I also have carbon credits. Carbon credits, of course, Chile. Carbon credits have some different variables from the variables that are in place today. Today at COP, carbon credits were discussed quite a bit, but those who control carbon credits, those who buy and sell them, are large companies. Man, carbon credits have to be for those who are helping the environment and live in that biome. I can't receive carbon credits from France. My company pollutes a lot. And now I'm saying my pollution is zero because I'm buying carbon credits. That doesn't make sense. It's illogical. That's capitalism coming back. And then these carbon credits will be speculated on in the market. They'll be fake. It'll be a case of carbon credit theft from one side to the other. Land grabbing of carbon credits. It'll become madness. Not like that. Carbon credits. If you collect garbage, you have the money to earn. Carbon credits, but it's always for individuals, always for natural persons. If you really do help, if your company helped a lot, the carbon credits go to people within your company, not to companies. People who live in the biome, not people who live in another country outside the biome. And this carbon credit also comes along with the immigrant credit. Sometimes there's a flood, sometimes a drought in a region, and immigrants move from one place to another. There's migration within or outside the country itself. When an immigrant leaves one place and goes to another, like the Chilean immigrant, when he leaves Chile, if he comes to Brazil, he comes with the king, goes through the central bank, and goes back to him. I mean, where is the freedom to come and go? My God, freedom to come and go. You can go anywhere because you have the money to go and come. The money today is only with the president, only him. And it goes to the Paris tax office and stays there. It doesn't circulate in the economy. So look, money to come and go, but you leave one country for another. Which country to go to? Because that border can be crossed. You go and go with your money, you come back, you go again, you live anywhere, then you have an immigrant debt when you go from one country to another, or if someone comes from another country to you, a Venezuelan coming to Brazil, either coming to Chile or coming to the United States. Look, a lot of immigrants are coming from Venezuela to keep the immigrants here. So the American would say, hey, welcome Venezuelans, welcome Brazilians, welcome Chinese, you're coming with your money, welcome. See, so that's what immigrant tax is all about. When a citizen comes, they come with money. Ah, but their country isn't giving immigrant tax. Yes, but I can make a difference in trade relations. And I, as a country, as a state, can put money in the hands of this immigrant and say, look, trade relations in such and such a place. Now you have a 40% tax. Why? Because they're not giving immigrant drag queens to the citizens who are coming from you. We solved immigration problems in the world in such a simple way and allowed the freedom to come and go, because today freedom of movement is only for using private jets, going here, going there, even without a passport, going here, going there. It's astonishing. Let's go. There's one more. Data sovereignty, Dana. Wow, time is running out and we have to move fast. Data sovereignty, Dana. When you mine oil, gold, lithium, you're going to mine a country and you're going to pay for data mining. Data sovereignty is this. The data of your citizen, of the municipality, has value. And the big tech companies, whoever wants to mine perfect, they're going to mine. They're going to pay for data mining. Now, it profits from data mining. It captures the citizen's attention. It controls the citizen's entire system. Because the citizen, they are there, they are driven by body movement, by the dopamine they get from something. So they go with that movement. But all the data for that movement is being controlled by big tech, and they don't pay for data mining. Give me a break. So we have to protect that data, that damage. And that's where the data center in each municipality is important for us. An ecological data center, a data center in each municipality, in each city hall, will control all the data that enters the municipality and leaves the municipality goes to the ecological data center. The water comes through it. Forget about the water. This heated water can be piped to some places to heat houses, improve the well-being of people in the surrounding area. So the data center is fantastic for the city hall, the state. Then the data center here, I don't know, in the Amazon, whoever it is, can have a partnership and rent parts of this data center. But we control the data. Whoever controls the data has power. Whoever controls the data can make news appear more widespread, can make something false become true. Whoever controls the data. The city government controls the data. That's where we're safe. After the data center, we have the metabolic democracy of the biomes. We have to see the biome as a living being. You and I have 1 trillion DNA replications. The biome has 1 trillion different replicated DNAs. And that doesn't make it any less of a larger living being. The biome is a living being and must have rights in the Chilean Constitution. And it should have rights in the Brazilian Constitution. But we haven't been able to move forward in that direction yet. We treat the biome as commodities. What can I cut? What can I exploit? What can I gain? And the biome is a living being, 1 trillion different DNAs. You are a living being, 1 trillion DNAs applied, just that difference. And there wasn't a part that I'm talking about. It's the kind of leakage, leaks, complex systems. We really notice that the leadership has to change naturally, organically, representing the biomes. The leadership represents the biomes, and the biome, that leadership represents the water of that biome. But next year it could be someone else, or it represents the forest, it represents this or that, the needs of the biome. So leadership changes according to the biome, and it's the biome that has a voice. We come from the biome, we live in the biome. The air you breathe, the water you drink comes from a biome. It's a living thing. That's what I wanted to leave you with. And I have great gratitude for Chile and its citizens because I did business in Chile. I made a lot of money in Chile, yes. I basically sold EG and NIRS in Chile, and it provided a good structure, and I strongly support research in Chile. And now I've started even stronger support directed towards some research centers. Supporting research and investigations into complex systems of collectivity. Let's see if any good publications come out of it. That's what I wanted to leave you with this week. Until next Wednesday, a big hug.